everybody. My name is Jimena Vergara, and today we have a super special guest with us. Her name is Sofia Alvarado Vargas, and she is an expert in the matter of the ozone layer. So Sofia has a Bachelor of Science in Atmospheric Science, and she studied at Princeton University. So basically, Sofia has been traveling all around the world to figure out what is going on with our ozone layer, and she has come here today to explain and share some of her knowledge about this important layer in our planet. So please give her a big round of applause.
Thank you so much, Jimena. I'm so glad to be here. Yes, like you have said before, I have been traveling all over the world to find what has happened to our ozone layer. I've interviewed many scientists to know what is happening in our world, and I am so glad and pleased to be here and inform you all and give you the answers of your questions. So yes, I am very happy to be here. Thank you.
Sofia, we are so honored and so happy to have you here today. We know you are a busy woman, so we have prepared a couple of questions for you to answer. So the first question is, what is the ozone layer? Can you please explain to us what the ozone layer is?
Yes. The ozone layer is an area in the stratosphere where the ozone is highly concentrated. The ozone is a molecule made of 3 oxygen atoms.
Wow, that is super interesting. Now, going to the next question, can you please tell us what CFCS stands for, or what are CFCS, please?
Well, during the 1970s, scientists began to worry that a class of human-made chemicals called CFCs might be damaging the ozone layer. For many years, CFCs were thought to be miracle chemicals. They are non-poisonous, non-flammable, and they do not corrode metals. They quickly became very popular as coolants in refrigerators and, as you all know, and air conditioners.
Oh my god, that is so amazing. Now, can you please tell us why is ultraviolet light harmful for us?
Yes. The ozone layer absorbs most of the ultraviolet light, or UV light, from the sun. Ultraviolet light is harmful to organisms because it can damage the genetic material in the living cells.
Now that we know what CFCS stands for, can you tell us what were these chemicals also used for?
They were also used as glassy fizz in making plastic foams, and they were used as propellant in spray cans of everyday products like deodorants and paint and maybe even insecticides.
So going to the next couple of questions, can you please tell us what is an ozone hole and by how much did the ozone layer thin in your study that you made in 1985?
So, an ozone hole is a thinning of the stratospheric ozone that occurs over the poles during the time of spring. So, in 1985, an article in a scientific journal Nature reported that the result of studies by scientists working in Antarctica. The studies revealed that the ozone layer above the South Pole had thinned by 50 to approximately 98%.
Wow, you really do know a lot of stuff. Now, can you please tell us what are polar stratospheric clouds and what is a polar vortex?
Those type of clouds form when temperatures fall below about -83 degrees Celsius. High altitude clouds made of water and nitric acid called polar stratospheric clouds begin to form. So, during the dark polar winter, strong circulating winds over Antarctica called the polar vortex inside cold air from surrounding warmer air. The air within the vortex grows extremely very cold.
Now, going back to the ozone hole situation, can you please tell us how these ozone holes form?
So, on the surfaces of polar stratospheric clouds, the product of CFCs are converted to molecular chlorine. When the sunlight returns to the South Pole in the time of spring, molecular chlorine is split into 2 chlorine atoms by ultraviolet radiation. So, by the end, the chlorine atom rapidly destroys the ozone. The destruction of the ozone causes a thin spot, or as well called an ozone hole, which lasts for several months.
Now, can you please tell us what are the products of polar stratospheric clouds converge to, and also what happens when chlorine atoms destroy this ozone layer?
As mentioned earlier, on the surfaces of polar stratospheric clouds, the product of CFCs are converted into molecular chlorine. So the destruction of the ozone causes a thin spot, or like said before, an ozone hole, which, like I said before, lasts for several months. Some scientists estimate that as much as 70% of the ozone layer can be destroyed during this period.
So now I think many people in the public find this question to be very interesting. So can you please tell us why does the ozone do not repair the ozone hole in the stratosphere?
So the answer is that the ozone is very chemically reactive. Ozone produced by pollution breaks down or even combines with other substances in the troposphere, long before it can reach the stratosphere to replace ozone that is being destroyed.
So can you please tell us what are some of the effects of ozone thinning on humans?
As the amount of ozone in the stratosphere decreases, more ultraviolet light is able to pass through the atmosphere and reach Earth's surface. UV light is dangerous to living things because it damages our DNA, like said before. It is a material that contains the information that determines our characteristics. The effect of this on humans are increased incidence of skin cancer, premature aging of the skin, increased incidence of cataracts, and weakened immune response.
Now, you talked about, in the previous question, you talked about DNA. Can you please tell us what DNA is?
Yeah, so the DNA is the genetic material that contains the information that determines the inherited characteristic, like brown hair, brown eyes, blue eyes, skin tone, all of that stuff.
Now, since you have already told us some of the effects of the thinning of the ozone layer, can you please tell us some of these effects on animals and plants?
High levels of UV light can kill phytoplankton that live near the surface of the ocean. Some scientists believe that increased UV light could especially be damaging for amphibians. UV light at the natural levels kills many eggs of some species by damaging unprotected DNA. Higher UV levels might kill more eggs and put amphibian populations at risk. They can also cause genetic mutations among survivors in amphibians. UV light can damage plants by interfering with photosynthesis. This damage can result in lower crop yields.
So in the previous question, you mentioned something called phytoplankton. Can you please tell us what that is and what are the effects of the loss of this phytoplankton?
They are single-celled organisms called phytoplankton, like what I mentioned before, that live near the surface of the ocean. The loss of phytoplankton could disrupt ocean food chains and also reduce fish harvest. In addition, a reduction in the number of phytoplankton could cause an increase in the amount of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere.
Now, going to the next question, can you please tell us what are some of the effects of the ozone layer, like thinning, on marine life?
Some effects on marine life are death of phytoplankton in the surface water, the disruption of food chain, and reduction in the number of photosynthesizers.
Now, I promise these are the last couple of questions. So the first one is, how can we know the environmental change is happening?
So ecologists use the health of amphibian populations as an indicator because the environmental sensitivity of these creatures is very high. So it helps them know what is happening in the environment.
Last question. Have countries come together to create plans to protect the ozone layer now that we know the importance of the ozone layer?
So in 1987, a group of nations met in Canada and agreed to take action against ozone depletion. They came up with the Montreal Protocol. In this protocol, these nations agreed to limit in their production of CFCs. A second conference in the problem, which was held in Copenhagen, Denmark. In 1992, developed countries agreed to eliminate most of the CFCs by 1995. And then the US pledged to ban all substances that possess a significant danger to the ozone layer by the year 2000. After, the developed countries banned most of the CFCs because many countries were involved and they decided to control CFC so they wouldn't be left out, like if one developed country does something, you want to follow their direction, and since it was a good cause, obviously many countries followed. Many people consider this ozone protection an international environmental success story, so it made history that these countries would all help to control this problem that our world and our planet was being affected by.
Oh, thank you for answering all of the questions. We know that you are a very busy woman and that you have a lot of stuff to do, so this is why we really appreciate the fact that you came here today and spend time with us to answer these questions, and the fact that you share all of your knowledge with us. So we hope that you had a great experience and time with us, and we hope to see you back soon.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so pleased to be here and share what I learned with you guys. I am so glad that you invited me over to talk about this problem that is happening right now in the ozone layer. So yeah, I always have time to be here and share what I know. So thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did.